welcome councillors, GM, staff. We're on the City Service Committee meeting 1st of March 2022. Welcome. Members of the public and staff are declared meeting open at 6:32 to be precise. Everyone at this meeting is reminded to conduct themselves in a polite and professional manner. Keep communication factual, use appropriate language and tone. Do not use any defamatory or derogatory remarks. Defamation rules apply to address public forum. I also ask councillors to observe the requirements under the Code of Meeting Practice and Meeting Etiquette. I'll remind all present that the video recording is an official record of council and may be made available to persons upon request in accordance with the Government Information Public Access Act 2009. No other recordings are permitted. Acknowledgement of country. Bayside Council acknowledges the traditional custodian, the able and individual people of the Eora Nation and pay respect to elders past, present and emerging. Councillors, with apologies, I've got here apologies received from Councillor Michael Nagy and Councillor Paul Sekrak. Would I have a mover and a seconder for the apologies? All in favour. Councillor Jansen, seconded by Councillor Musker. And all favour say aye. Now we do, thank you Councillor Saranovsky. We do have a couple of councillors online. We've got Councillor Scott Morrissey and Councillor Bill Saranovsky. As we have both councillors online, I have to move a procedural motion to allow both councillors to basically attend meeting online. So could I have a mover and a second mover? Councillor Mustard, seconded by Councillor Jensen. Okay, all favour say aye. Aye. Declare carried. Any disclosure of interest, councillors? Councillor Sarah Muskie, Councillor Morrissey online. Any disclosure of interest? Okay, no disclosure of interest. That will be noted in a minute. We've got the previous minutes of previous meeting held on the 1st of February 2023. Could I have a move and second, please? Moved by Councillor Jansen, seconded by Councillor Mustard. All in favour say aye. Aye. They're carried. Aye. Now, councillors, we do have two items on tonight's agenda. And the first one, item CS 23.008, responds to notice of motion Bayside Advisory Groups. And we do have one speaker, I believe, that's online. We'll invite the speaker to address council.
Hi everyone.
Hi, please go ahead. We can hear you.
Hi everyone, my name is Anthony Skerry and I manage the Settlement and Community Service Division at Advanced Diversity Services. For those of you who don't know about ADS, we have been operating in the St George area of Sydney for more than 40 years. We provide a range of the aged care, family, disability and settlement services to enhance the health, wellbeing and community connections of individuals and families in St George, the Sutherland Shire and inner Sydney. Our most busy office site is located in Bexton, in Bayside Council. We see approximately 250 aged care clients visiting each week, participate in group activities. We also have an office in Rockdale. Our other two office sites are located in Hurstville and Sutherland. We've been working on LGBTQA plus service provision and inclusion since 2019. However, you could say that our work for this cohort began in approximately 2017 with the development of the multicultural LGBTQA plus support directory. We have been awarded gold tier status in the Health and Wellbeing Quality Index, HWEI, which has been designed to assess benchmark LGBTQ inclusive service provision amongst health, wellbeing and human service providers. We are the first culturally physically diverse specific organisation to reach this status in Australia. At ADS, we understand that migrants, refugees, asylum seekers, stateless and internally displaced persons that identify with a diverse gender and or sexuality face complex challenges including discrimination, violence, difficulty in accessing basic social and economic rights, and barriers to articulating their protection needs. At ADS, we understand these challenges are to include, welcome and support people who identify with diverse gender and or sexuality. We understand that there is a significant child population in the Bayside Council area, and a percentage of this population would identify as LGBTIQA+. Our work in this area has made us understand that there are not only needs that need to be addressed for CALD LGBTIQA+ communities, however also non-CALD LGBTIQA+ communities. Our work has developed into community capacity building and awareness raising activities and events, including a partnership with Queer Screen, where for the last 3 years we have been showcasing LGBTIQA+ films at Hurstville event cinemas. More information about our LGBTIQA+ inclusion can be found on our website and Facebook page. The ADS Artful Pride project, which was recently funded by Bayside Council, was very successful. Participants requested for the project to continue on an ongoing basis. However, this was a one-off project that requires further funding to be sustainable. Whilst we are mostly in support of Bayside Council's recommendation to hold an annual LGBTIQA+ inclusion forum, we believe that a Bayside Council working group focusing on the needs of LGBTIQA+ individuals and communities residing in local LGA and with representation from the local community would produce much more beneficial outcomes for the local community than a one-off annual forum. We also note that ADS is running a similar forum in June this year in the Georges River Council area that welcomes any Bayside Council staff and or councillors who would like to attend. Bayside Council borders onto Sydney City Council, which has the largest LGBTIQA+ population in Australia. We are aware that there are a large LGBTI population residing in Bayside Council, particularly Mascot, Walleye Creek and Rockdale. A regular needing LGBTIQA+ working group would be able to discern the following: the needs of the community, events and activities that council could potentially host and or celebrate, and the safety and challenges of the community. We are aware that Sutherland Shire Council has recently started an LGBTIQA+ working group. We are also aware of the investment and support Georges River Council has made to promote LGBTIQA+ inclusion, such as their Rainbow Crossing, Rainbow Flags in Hurstville and Cogra, Rainbow Storytime, Pride Book launches, graphic design for the Multicultural Support Directory, etc. We are also aware that the Inner West Council has their own LGBTIQA+ working group. Randwick Council has also recently celebrated Pride by hosting a Queer Screen event, similar to the one we hosted in Hurstville a few weeks ago, led by a $20,000 grant from Georges River Council. Randwick Council has also celebrated Pride at Coogee Beach with a rainbow walkway. As a neighbouring council to one of the largest LGBTIQA+ populations in Australia, we would like to see a similar investment in this growing population in Bayside Council. We believe an LGBTIQA+ working group would be a great stepping stone rather than an annual LGBTIQA+ forum. This need has arisen from discussions with stakeholders and organisations in the local area, as well as LGBTIQA+ residents of the Bayside Council area who have approached us to advocate for an LGBTIQA+ working group. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Councillors, do I have a move and second? Moved by Councillor Jansen, second by Councillor Muscat. Any comments, councillors?
Through you, Chair, just a few questions as we go through the report, and thanks for bringing this back, and also thanks to Mr. Scarry for speaking on behalf of the ADS. So the first question is in relation to the Public Art Assessment Group. Will this group, through you, Chair, include any externals?
I can. The makeup of the group is being assessed, including how it community input.
So is it if there is to be any.
We'll need to go to the microphone to have that response, please, for those online.
Sorry, repeat that, Councillor. Okay. We'll get Dawson to repeat the comment. Sorry,
Can we just confirm, is the microphone working?
We can hear that clearly, but we couldn't hear Ms. Dawson.
Okay, we'll repeat what she said. Thank you.
Thanks. Your voice is clear, Meredith.
Loud and clear.
Through you, Mr Chair, the makeup of the assessment group is currently being considered, including how it can canvass community input. And in response to Councillor Jansen's subsequent question, yes, we would be looking at an EOI process to gather the interest from the community and appoint those community representatives.
Thank you, Councillor Jansen.
Thank you. What would be the timeline for that to happen in the first meeting of that group?
Through you, Mr Chair, we wanted to get endorsement for this paper tonight, and from there we'll put together a timeline for all of the recommendations.
Okay, because I would potentially like to put some dates in the recommendations if possible, so for the public art assessment group to meet by July. Is that feasible?
Through you, Mr Chair, it does take quite a bit of time to run an EOI process and evaluate the responses. We could work towards July if we could seek indulgence.
I guess in that respect, sorry, Chair, we shouldn't put a timeline for the summer and to meet the deadline.
Through the chair, if I can just suggest, I think as the director said, we should bring back a timeline for all of these committees. We may even be able to rough that out before the next council meeting. I think we've heard the message that you'd like to have that one sooner than later, but there are some time constraints. For instance, if it is an EOI, then recommendations would come back to council. So in part, there's like a council meeting cycle that we would have to take on board, and that can slow things down by some weeks. But yeah, I think we've got the gist of it.
Thank you. So maybe if we could receive a draft timeline before the next council. Just on the youth forum, I noticed that there's no mention of Hillsdale, so I was just inquiring as to what's happening with the youth space there at Hillsdale and how that's been incorporated into that young people's business unit.
Through you, Mr Chair, I think that's probably just an oversight because young people are attending Hillsdale every Thursday and
It's gone silent again.
On me or on Deborah?
Councillor
Deborah.
Morrissey, could you hear Councillor Jansen speak?
Yeah, I can. I just can't hear Ms. Dawson.
Okay.
okay, I'll try again. Is that better?
There we go. I can hear that. Yep.
Okay. With the question relating to whether Hillsdale is included in the youth strategy, yes, it absolutely is. We have quite a significant and growing number of attendees at Hillsdale where we run a youth event every week on a Thursday, and it certainly is very much part of our youth strategy.
Thank you.
Right.
Just one final question. Under the LGBTIQ+, apart from ADS who spoke tonight, I wasn't aware of that relationship there, but what other groups in the community does council work with in that space?
Through you, Mr Chair, I would have to come back with the response to that. I'm afraid our manager of community life couldn't be here tonight. She would have that information at her fingertips, so if I could provide that to you separately.
Thank you. So if that, I'm not sure of the timing of that forum, but if that, is it possible if that forum decides, based on what Mr. Scarry said tonight, that they want to establish a working group and provide that recommendation, is that something that could be taken on board and considered?
Yes.
I just had a suggested change to point 4 before I finish my questions, just on that progress on achievement of the operational plan. Is it possible to add to that sentence, including a progress update on all community life events? Because I think there's been some confusion about our events portfolio in the past, and we have numerous events as council. So if those community life events are highlighted in that particular 6-monthly report, I think it would be wise.
Is that added to the officer's recommendation?
Number 4 of the officer's recommendation, but reported to council through the mechanism, including a progress update on community life events.
The change has been highlighted on the screen there, Councillor Musgrave. Sorry, Councillor, you've been standing there, so please.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, great.
Sorry, Councillors online, can you hear Councillor speak?
Hello?
Yeah, I can now.
Yeah, okay.
Great.
I can now.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, look, I was just wondering if council could consider moving forward the LGBTIQA plus forum, because I think it really is important to have a working group, and that's to include, there's so many different communities that can be included there. It's the culled communities, but it's also young people. And I know that there is a group in Hurstville that's specifically for young people as well. So I think it could be really useful to have all those different groups attending, and especially as a parent of a young person who's gender fluid, I think it is really important to note that we need to consider the effects on young people as well. So to be able to make sure that we encourage inclusive communities and things like that. So I think making that a high priority would be really great.
Thank you. Sorry, Councillor.
Through you, Chair. Is it possible to obtain a graphic map of the different groups and who will be the leaders in those groups, so that if something comes up and the councillor is approached about something, we can say, yes, this is the person we go to, and what subgroups are under their umbrella? That would be fantastic. I know it's more work, but I appreciate that.
Through you, Chair. Yes, that's not a problem.
Councillors online, Councillor Morrissey, Councillor Saromowski, any comments on this item?
I just, I'm getting some echo, but I think if you just add a point that a timetable was submitted at the next meeting, just a draft timetable or implement for these events, based on what the speaker, is it ADS, and Councillor Werner as well. Just, I think at the very latest we need something in October so we can prepare for next February, but bring that forward so that forum can then consider the establishment of a working group, how that may work, and then identify relevant stakeholders to engage over the following months. The same thing applies for all of here. It's just with Councillor Jansen mentioned about the dates, and it's silent here, so if we can come back next month with a timeline based on the feedback and that's been provided today, I think that'll help council move forward with these programs, and that's across all the portfolios.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Councillor Morrissey.
You just need to get that into the motion somehow.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I would back Councillor Morrissey on that. So are we able to add another point to the officer recommendation that reads along the lines of a draft timeline for all activities mentioned above is presented back to the next committee?
What is it the next council? GM said, is that next council meeting?
Oh, I'm really happy to defer.
Yeah, sure.
But what we would do is we will try to put we'll try to do a supplementary report with as many dates as we can for the council business paper, but we will also be able to come back to the next committee with further details for your discussion.
Okay, thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Councillor Sarabnowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I agree with everyone that spoke. The only thing I was going to suggest is we should never forget the PCYC. If we incorporate them into the committee, or we make them aware, our local PCYC, and it's important also to include, I know it does make reference in the report, the area commanders or the police for both sides of our area, the Mascot and also the Cogra area, if we can let them know about the establishment of the committee. And but otherwise, I'll total agreement.
Thank you. The GM will make a comment.
Thank you through the chair, and thank you, Councillor Sarabanovsky. I think there's an overarching point that we're not trying here to replace the really solid networks and the work that a lot of community agencies are already doing in any of these areas. And yes, we acknowledge the PCYC's work and others. We're looking at whether we can bring that expertise to council periodically so that we can have a close relationship with them and tap into their expertise. But it's definitely not meant to supersede anything that's already happening. And we know there is a lot happening out there in these spaces.
Thank you so much, GM. There'll be no further comments, councillors.
Through the chair, I'm sorry. Councillor Douglas is on Teams. She wants to have a word.
Sure. Councillor Douglas.
Hello, sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sick in bed and there's a bit of echo here. I've just put something in the teams, whether we could add into the business papers that decision that the LGBTIQ plus forum table and potentially and bring back a recommendation regarding the LGBTQI plus working group. Can we put that into the business papers? Have that minuted?
Business paper, are you asking to amend the recommendation?
Yeah, am I allowed to do that because I'm not on the committee?
Well, I think it's moved, Councillor Chen.
But can I just make a point? I think. Yeah, I think. I agree with what Councillor Douglas is saying, but my understanding is it's understood by the directors if we can prioritise that initial meeting and then at that meeting on the agenda include how a forum might work. So rather than get too complex, if that's acknowledged, that might be enough.
Well, maybe we can add a point 6 that the LGBTQI plus forum is prioritised.
And thank you through the chair. That certainly will work and we'll reflect that in the calendar of activities that we'll bring back to you. So that's where it can be captured.
Okay, thank you. So that's Councillor Douglas.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. I just wanted to say this is really exciting and I'm really happy about this motion that Councillor Jansen brought forward and seeing this coming to fruition. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks. Sorry, I just got the LGBTQI wrong. It's LGBTIQ plus.
Okay. All right, councillors, thank you for the input. We're on item CS 23.008. The mover, Councillor Jensen, seconded by Councillor Muscat. All in favour, say aye.
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 Carried. Thank you, councillors. Now, on the final and last item, CS 23009, the Voice to Parliament referendum. Do I have a mover? Councillor Jensen, Councillor Muscat, seconded. Any discussion, councillors?
Yeah, I've got a, just an additional item 3.
Yeah, Councillor
Government.
Morrissey, go ahead, please.
Governance has that, I don't know if it's on the screen, but point 3, that a plan be presented at the April committee demonstrating what internally funded actions will be taken to promote a vote for yes.
Sure. We're just trying to add that to the officer's recommendation, Councillor Morrissey. 1B second.
Thank you. And just to be clear, the reason I'm suggesting internally funded, I don't think we need to go to this means of an external consultant or anything like that. So it says that we're going to develop a plan to promote, so you can just come back with what that looks like and what we can manage within our own resourcing and budget.
Sure. Councillor Morrissey, if you have that number 3 in front of you, can you read it out because it's a bit small on the screen?
Is Mr. Soot there?
Yeah, it's on the screen. Can you read it to council? Oh, there we go. The big
I don't know if you're laughing with me or at me, but it's hard to join in.
Okay. Could everyone read the number 3, councillors? Happy with it, Councillor Jensen? You're the mover, so you're happy with it?
Yes, happy with that. But just through you, Chair, just a couple of questions. One to the General Manager. I remember at last committee we talked about SS Rock, and was there any outcome about a partnership there with other councils to promote?
Through the Chair, the discussions at SS Rock have been quite preliminary to date, but the general view is that the material we promote to the community should absolutely come from the one source of truth, that we should not try to create our own collateral, and nor should we try to interpret it, because if anything happens and we could be seen to have unintentionally changed the meaning or a nuance on that material, that could have some consequences for council. So we've all agreed at SS Rock amongst the GMs that it will be the official material that we'll distribute. And looking at this, we'll be talking about the channels by which we can distribute the banners that we can create, the social media links that we can create, those types of things.
Thank you, Kim. That answers the question.
Yes, through you, Chair. Just one last question. Do we have a lot of groups that we network with readily on hand to promote this messaging to?
Through you, Chair, we have our RAP working group who represent a RAP.
Councillors online, any questions?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Chairman, I was just going to suggest we should never forget our local member, Linda Burney. Linda did a launch a couple of weeks ago with community organisations. I think we need to regularly keep in contact with Linda or her staff. Linda's got some material in relation to this matter, and I think if we can obtain copies, I agree with the GM, we should be singing on the same song, but I think I support everything that's been moved, but I just, as I said, let's not forget that Linda Burney is the minister and also a local member.
Yeah. Thank you, Councillor Saranowski.
Welcome, councillors, members of the public and staff. I declare the meeting open at 7:11 p.m. Everyone at this meeting is reminded to conduct themselves in a polite and professional manner, keep communication factual, use appropriate language and tone, do not use any defamatory or derogatory remarks. Defamation laws apply to addresses in public forums. I also ask councillors to observe the requirements under the Code of Meeting Practice and Meeting Etiquette. I remind all present that the video recording is an official record of council and may be made available to persons upon request in accordance with the Government Information Public Access Act 2009. No other recordings are permitted. Bayside Council acknowledges the traditional custodians, the Gadigal and Bidjigal people of the Eora Nation, and pays respects to elders past, present and emerging. The people of the Eora Nation, their spirits and ancestors will always remain with our waterways and the land, our Mother Earth. We have received apologies from Councillor Michael Nagy, Councillor Paul Sedrak, Councillor Andrew Souness. We're not sure if Councillor Christina Curry is joining us. She's an apology. Okay, so I've just found out that Councillor Curry is an apology. Would someone please move? Yep.
It's gone quiet.
Can you hear me, Councillor Morrissey?
No, I just heard. Are you talking? It was going so well.
Yes, the chair is trying to speak.
I'm really close to the microphone. I'll get in.
That's better.
Okay. Okay, as we have Councillor Morrissey wishing to participate in this meeting by audio-visual link, may I have a motion, and would someone like to move and second that the councillor's request to attend by audio-visual link be granted? Councillor Muscat and Councillor Werner.
Did it again.
We don't have a quorum tonight, so we're going to put forward another procedural motion that Councillor Jansen and Councillor Muscat join our committee tonight so that we have a quorum. Could someone...
I'll move that.
Thank you. Second? Okay. Councillor Werner seconded. Councillor Morrissey and Councillor Werner. All those in favour?
Aye.
I declare it carried. Disclosures of interest. Does any councillor wish to make any disclosures of interest? No? Minutes of the previous meeting. Minutes of the previous Corporate Performance Committee meeting on the 1st of February 2023. Can I ask two councillors who were present at the meeting to move and second the confirmation of the minutes?
I'll move that.
Okay. Councillor Morrissey and Councillor Werner. There is only one item on the agenda for tonight's meeting, so we will move to that item. And there are also no speakers registered for the public forum tonight. So we have reports CP 23.006, Customer Experience Strategy, Policy and Charter. Can I have...
I'd like to move an alternative motion, please.
Seconder? Councillor Jansen?
I'll just say what it is first. So, I have Mr. Soot should have that. Is that on the screen?
I can't read it from here.
Yes, it's on the screen.
Okay, I can read it now.
So for anyone online, the motion is that this matter be deferred pending further development of a roadmap to deliver the plan that is the subject of this report, and number two, that a cultural awareness and change program that includes internal and external communication with relevant stakeholders be included in the report and presented at the April committee meeting. Is there a seconder? And then I'll talk to it.
Councillor Jansen?
Can I just say we change it to a roadmap, not the roadmap, because that implies that the roadmap is referenced in the report.
A roadmap. Okay. Yeah. That's fine. So just the context, I think there's been a lot of chat amongst councillors and council officers after publication of this of the report tonight, and my initial feedback, I think the document is very, I think it's fantastic. I absolutely love it. I think the challenge we face though is that it is quite an aspirational document, and if we push forward with this in its current form, I think as a council and councillors and as council staff will be challenged with immediate delivery, which might be the perception there. So I agree that we need to have a workshop or at least some briefings, information sessions, some input from councillors. So I think if we reference the report, we're on level 2 and we need to get to level 5, and the A roadmap is required to clearly show some steps, some action steps and some clear milestones that we can then track over time. And if we can get to this point in the medium term, not the long term, but in the medium term, then I think the council will be much better for it. So seeking to defer it while those conversations can take place.
Anyone else? Okay. Seconder for the... Okay. Councillor Jansen?
Oh, I've just seconded
Yep,
it.
no,
yeah.
I've just
So I
letting the
support
staff
what-
know.
okay.
Yep. Okay. Okay, the amended motion has been accepted to defer the report, subject to councillor information session. I'll read it out. Item 1, that this matter be deferred pending further development of a roadmap to deliver the plan that is the subject of this report. Item 2, that a cultural awareness and change program that includes internal and external communication with relevant stakeholders be included in the report and presented at the April committee meeting.
Sorry, do we need to include in the first one, Chair, about it being held at some councillor information sessions?
I think we'll just leave that for these council officers to decide. I think we're all aligned with the need and the intent of this. So whatever I think this discussion will be able to sort out what that looks like.
Okay. Anybody else wish to make any changes? No?
Thank you. I just wanted to, and I think I did hear the General Manager say that all the councillors would be invited. So I just wanted to confirm that that's actually the case through the Chair to the General Manager.
Through the Chair, excuse me. As you've all discussed, yes, the intention would be for all councillors to have some input into amending the draft or commenting on the draft, and that would be through a briefing information session, and that would be input into a future version of what we bring back to council.
Thank you.
No further comments? No. All those in favour?
Aye.
Passed. Declare it carried. Bit rusty at this. That was, excuse me, sorry. That was the final item to be discussed at the meeting. There being no further items, I declare the meeting closed at 7:21. Thank you.
For those councillors online,
Thank you.
there won't be an information session after this meeting, so if you disregard the calendar invitation, and we will let you know when a information session will take place on this.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. That's good. Thanks.